Good afternoon. Welcome to Options Center. This is a quick update as I am fixing my fridge and freezer. So I have to make this quick for you. Just want to get this out, make sure we follow up on where we think we're going and where I think a critical point is on the SPY and QQQ. We're doing this intraday at about 2:41 Eastern Standard Time. If you want to get these intraday, feel free to become a supporter. It's like 99 cents, and I appreciate all you current supporters and members that get individual videos. Let's jump into it. We have SPY on the monthly top. That's from 2021. We're forming a top right now. And the question is, how is this top going to look? And I think I have the answer for you. We've been struggling on this wave up to see where it's going to end. And I think the reverse will happen today. Let's go to the weekly. On the weekly time frame, we had basically, we're getting a reversal for the week. We'll see how we end tomorrow with the Powell speech at Jackson Hole. We had a rejection off of the top of this channel, and we're trading around the 2021 top that trend line that I was just talking about. It's no coincidence that we're getting a rejection off of this point. This is also our final target here at the 162 retracement from 2021 correction, which is this correction here. This is the retracement from it, 162% retracement from it. We're rejecting back off of it. Never thought that would reach that high at this point. But what we're doing, check out yesterday's video, because I believe we're mimicking something like this, and I go through it very thoroughly, and I do think we're going to get a new high just like this, and then drop down after that. So here's my sort of look at this, and much lower. This, I believe, is a major top. That's why this top is much more exaggerated. It's larger than this top back here. I think this is a major top. Let's go to the daily. Again, a lot more detail in yesterday's video. Please check that out. Okay, we had this bearish rising wedge, filled it out, had an overthrow, broke down, back tested a small back test here, and had a nice big drop. Now just a ramp rally, rip your face off rally, up to back test this trend line again. That's simply what it's doing. Now we're rejecting off of there. We're in a bullish stance, but I think we're getting a reversal here. So watch out for all these moving averages. I think that they're moving sideways. I think they're going to continue to move sideways because we're going to trade around them. So this, and all reality, could be a very deep retracement. So 520 is our cutoff for being bullish. I think if we get under here, that there's a possible scenario that if we break this low, but it's just very unlikely if we start breaking this low. That 520 is my mark, that this is simply a retracement and we reject down there. But with everything happening, Fed, blah, 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 all that stuff, I think we're going to make a new high and retreat from there. And here's what it kind of looks like. I'm looking at this as, and I described all this in the last video. So I'm looking at this as being a wave 4 and holding this 23.6 here. So there's a scenario where if we break down violently and come down to the 382, there's still a possibility of making a new high. That would be a very large correction, and this would be considered an A, a very large B, and a C down here. I don't really think that's the scenario. What I'm looking for right now, and things will change underneath the 520. I'm looking at this being ABC completed. We have a low, and that's not the same with the Qs necessarily. We have a 1. We're going to get a nice big retracement to test that 520. It doesn't have to. We have an alternate scenario. And then we grab a new high here, and we already have targets. So our target ultimately would be about 580. And an even more rare instance, all the way up to 600. Okay, at the 162. And where do I get this? I get it from this retracement here, this correction. The retracement is all the way, these are the retracements to the 127 and so on, is the most important one. And the next one above the 127 would be the 162. So that's how I think it's going to look. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Some people are saying this is a B wave. And the reason why it looks that way is because we have A, B, C. And let's take a look on the 65. We do have a time relationship here at the 822. And we also have one going into Tuesday. So today we're getting the reversal off of the 822. And so I'll take that one off. And we'll be looking for the cluster going in Tuesday, see what happens. Is it a violent drop into Monday where we get, some of these violent drops? Well, we'll see. But here's what I'll look for in the near term, in the very, very near term, is this trend line here. I don't think that's going to be a very valid spot, this downtrend line, where we have a breakout. Some people are considering that a breakout. Do we backtest into these time factors? There's 2 time relationships here in purple, right here. So does price simply get down here on 827? Then we'll look for a possible bounce, or maybe that's it, but we'll be looking for a bounce. I'm looking for lower prices, and ultimately this being the low at about 520 on the beginning of September. Okay, so those are the 2 clusters we're looking for to see where price is at and what happens at that point. I don't think these trend, there's only 2 points here really, and I just don't think it's very valid. I think we're moving sideways. I think we're in a range play. So really price could get a little bit lower. It could stretch down there. And what would that look like on the other screen? We have our 520 down here. So we have the 786 retracement from high to low here. We can get down to 786. And if we follow the same playbook as 2021 top, just an exaggerated form, we could make it down to this 887 and still be good there, spike and probably hold above this 23.6%. Just like, we did this in a day. So gap down below it and then got rejected a day, I should say 2 days. We had gapped above, gapped up and then went above and back tested. So it's a very important level here at 520. If and when we get there. And I'm looking at this being a 1. And this is an ending diagonal. Since we have an A, B, C for an A, B, C for 1, a 3-wave move down for 2, 3-wave move up for 3, and 4, 5, etc. All in 3 waves, ending diagonal. And the price action here is not going to be necessarily a straight line. We're going to have 3 and 4, and I'll be looking for an overlap with wave 4 on the wave 1, so that would make it nice and neat. But the market never really gives us that. And what would this look like on the Qs? This is it. I'm going to go through the Qs and VIX on the 65, and right now it's holding the 2021 top here. It's just reacting off of that. But I want to see where price is on SPY according to these time relationships, because we had a channel here as well. Okay, so if we're back testing a channel way down here and the Qs are leading us down here and SPY is at that so-called downtrend line during the same time frames, then you better believe we're at minimum getting a bounce. Okay, and so I'll look at these. These both have a very significant area going into these time relationships. So maybe it's all the way down here. Maybe the Qs are very bearish, gets down here by the by 9.3 and starts reacting much higher. Okay, and by much higher I mean maybe closing the gap and getting a lower high, because I think we have our impulse wave in here, and I think our high is good for the Nasdaq. And so we'll be looking at those closely to make sure that they coincide with certain supports. But don't forget that the Qs are probably going to lead us down here. And this is an A, B, C. It's going to look very similar to SPY, but it's going to be just a little bit weaker and not make a new high. So we have to be very cautious, because this B can actually get lower than this low here and still be valid as a B wave, and it could be an expanded flat. So this can go as a deep retracement. A typical would be an 887 down to the lows as a double bottom, and then even break the lows. And if we regain those lows, it's likely that's a false break, and we get a very sharp price action to the upside, and that will get new highs in SPY as well. All right, and the VIX. And then we got to go. VIX here, it looked as if it wanted to. It's forming some sort of market structure here after breaking out of the wedge. Looks like, you know, perhaps we get a bounce pretty soon here. I think this is considered one wave. So going into one of these levels, maybe up here, the 19, which is elevated. Remember, we're elevated now. So price swings are huge. So maybe we get up to like the 19 and just make a higher low here. That'd be very natural. And then we can start moving much quicker on the VIX. And that would be something that I'd be looking for, again, like on SPY, when we start seeing maybe going into Monday and Tuesday, we go a little bit lower. So going into Monday and Tuesday, maybe we get our bounce here where the VIX gets rejected off of the 19 or 20 or 21, depending, you know, we'll see where the spike goes. And if you see VIX starting to retreat, that's probably a signal that we're going to get some sort of bounce. And don't get me wrong, this 9.3 could simply be a high as well. So we don't know where the direction is going to be. Let's see where price is when we get to these time relationships and make a trade off of that. This is just a projection, and we're trading to the downside now. We've been trading to the downside, and a lot of our trades here, 1, 2 of our setups are underwater, and we're now back in the game for these puts here, which cleared out almost, at least on Qs, I think 3 or 4 days, just like that. So this move should be pretty rapid, and we'll see if we get a bounce off of here. Could be a meager bounce, and then we'll be looking at the daily time frames to see if we're underneath, the 8 EMA and such. But I suspect this will be a deep retracement. That's what I got for you guys. We'll do another video tomorrow. I'll do a much more lengthy one and just try to teach as we do these things. And I'll go through SMH as well, because we talked about SMH a while back, and I do think SMH is going to lead us even further, more volatile to the downside. And so I think we'll get back in this area. We have an uptrend here, and we'll talk again a lot more about that later. And NVIDIA should be a leader of that. And if it back tests simply the downtrend line, then look at that, keying in this area. So, and that's the beginning of September. So it just lines up really well. We'll see if that happens. Thanks for joining us here at Options Center. Don't forget to like the video. We'll talk to you tomorrow.